How's everyone doing? Good. That's good. All right, so I am going to talk about anarchy. Anarchy. So should you, and I'll describe why. By the way, it's brought to you by Comic Sans, so fuck you. All right, anarchy. So a few things about anarchy. I looked it up online. Basically, anarchy means no government. It means just complete and total freedom. It's a little bit chaos. And I'll be honest, I crave chaos. Let's see here. Why should I convert to anarchy? Let me tell you why you should convert to anarchy. First of all, the government sucks. Can we not agree on that? The government is terrible, and we can understand, and especially in this administration. All right, let's see what else we got here. I'm bored. Are you guys bored? I'm bored. Pretty consistently. All right, let's see. Taxes. They also suck. I get that they help things, but for the sake of this presentation, they suck. Fuck authority. Basically bringing you back to the government, it's a shitty thing. All right, let's move on. Why anarchy is good. This might not last 10 minutes. Let's find out. All right, people can't make you do shit. Think about this. Unless, of course, they're stronger than you. That can be a problem, but this fixes that. It's a great fitness plan. You just get stronger than the rest of everyone. Right? So what you do, you see someone chasing you after you gotta work out, if nothing else, the running is gonna do it all on itself. All right, let's see, we got loss, question mark, we'll find out. All right, let's see what we else got. Once again, I don't know, I just got really stuck on the taxes thing here. I don't like them. Also no currency. So, currency's going to be a problem. All right, let's see what we else got here. I wrote this when I was very drunk, and I'm also very drunk right now, so it's going to be a fun time. Chaos equals no time for boredom, also no depression. Because you got to think about it. Like, I've actually read a study about this. I don't know if anybody knows this, but like, if third world countries where they actually don't have a certain level of privilege, there's not a lot of depression because they don't really have time for that, So what I'm saying is we bring it back to that point. I understand there's going to be a lot of problems with that you're going to have. We're going to have to get rid of cell phones. We're going to have to get rid of, TVs, medical care, everything that we really care about. But anarchy, guys, let's move forward. All right, so the level of fun before anarchy. All right, so as you can see, it's a 90% no fun, and then a few little bit goddamn fucking blast, Not a lot though, but let's see what happens when we bring anarchy into the place. It completely reverses. What we do is we all of a sudden, anarchy just brings all the fun. If you survive, that is. If you survive, you're gonna have a lot of fun. If you don't survive, you're not gonna worry about it. All right, let's see what happens next. You can't argue with style, guys. Look at this. Look at that. Have you never wanted to dress like that in your entire life?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, look at you got Janet Jackson right here. Who wants to hang out with Janet Jackson? I want to hang out with Janet Jackson. She's a pretty cool lady. These other guys, they got guns, so I'm gonna fuck off with that. Let's see what else here. Problems with anarchy. You're basic. You don't know how to have fun. All right, next slide. How do I anarchy? Okay, let's first thing. There's a book. You can buy it off of Amazon. I haven't read it. You should. I should probably too. Apparently it tells you how to make smoke bombs and do really terrible things. There's actually a documentary about this, kind of anarchist, why it was a bad decision, but we're gonna forget about that. All right, next slide. Hollywood has some ideas about anarchy. They really do. All right, let's see here. We got the good. Mad Max Fury Road. Have anyone seen this movie? It's a fantastic movie. It's terrifying if you were to live in it, but it's a fantastic movie. The bad. Doomsday. Not a great movie. If you watch this movie, it does have the guy from A Clockwork Orange. I don't remember his name right now because I don't remember much right now, but he is in the film. It's not good. It starts out like one of those Underworld movies, and doesn't get better. So that's a really slow scale right here. All right, so we have the okay. That looks like fun. Have you ever seen Empire Records? It's a fun movie. Why am I talking about movies a lot? I like movies. There's no direction to this because this is Anarchy. All right, this is Anarchy. Everybody repeat with me, Anarchy.
Anarchy.
That's right. All right, next slide. Then maybe this was too much. The Purge, Anarchy. First of all, there is government in this movie. That is a problem. Next slide. Okay, we should definitely look at this. What was it? We should definitely took this a little bit too far. Hallmark Channel Christmas movies. This is a problem. There are too many. They all have the same plot. What the hell, people? How do you not notice? Please stop.
Stop.
Why?
Why?
Exactly. How to maintain anarchy. Encourage free expression. Now we're getting to the good stuff right here. All right, encouraging free expression. I can't use words right now. Encouraging free expression. I like to do things. You like to do things. I don't like to be told no. All right, next slide. Next part. Murder. It's gonna happen. Just react less. Realize this. You're probably gonna die. It's fine. Next slide. All right, don't be so sad. Stop trying to make people act like you. That's a problem. Don't do it. Okay. Burn shit. This is fun. Anybody a pyro in here? Woo! It's fun. It's fun. Yeah. The other bald guy is a pyro in here. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Okay. All right. What else do we got here? If someone tries to lead, don't let them. Once again, government is a problem, at least right now. Let's forget about the future because that's later us' problem, okay? We gotta work on right now, okay? We gotta work on right now. I just realized I was told not to like have the mic right next to my face. This is going to be a hell of a time for the editing team. All right, in review, government is shit. Do we not agree?
Yeah.
Yes. Burn shit.
Burn shit.
At least this guy. Dress however the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Because Tina Turner, actually it was Tina Turner, it wasn't even Janet Jackson. I am a dick. I am a jerk. Let's get past that. Bald guy who's talking about anyway. Texas, fuck it. Let's just, no. Think for yourself. You fucking assholes. I love you all. All right. It's time for the Q&A. Anybody have questions? I can answer like 10 of them because I went way under time.
What's the most important thing to burn first?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
USA Today. I would say probably USA Today. That's probably that's the first one. After that, People Magazine. It's gonna be great kindling. Okay, let's see. What else? Technology, I guess. Anyone else have a question? What's your question?
Are PowerPoints contradictory to anarchy?
Are PowerPoints contradiction to anarchy? The fact that I barely tried and you guys should notice would beg to differ. More questions. All right, Don.
Can I come up on stage and kiss your forehead?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I would be angry if you didn't. Thank you. Anyone else? This guy over here.
Is Comic Sans the font of Anarchy?
It's the font of just fuck everything, which I guess so, yes. Anyone else? This bald guy here. That's your name now. You're a bald guy from now on.
I'm the one with the dinosaur bump.
Okay, what's your question?
Do you think with the level of empathy and how evolved people are today, do you think lawlessness would lead to chaos?
No, I think that's the thing is, like, if I'm going to be serious about anarchy, I think anarchy could actually work today more than any time and ever, because if you think about it, like, more often than not, people then nowadays, there's the argument, for example, with, like, religious people, where they say, without religion, there's chaos, people are murdering each other, raping. We know that that's not completely true. So I think that with how we are today, I think right now we're actually scared more than anything else. So I think that, well, first of all, if we're going to make this fucking serious.
I should just stick to burning shit.
No. But seriously, if you're going to ask me about how I actually feel about anarchy, I don't know if it 100% completely works, because I think that historically humans are bound to want to actually follow to someone. But I think that when it comes down to it, I think that we actually do have more now than any time ever in life, especially when everybody's so obsessed with things like socialism and everything else like that. I think the problem when it comes down to it is that the government kind of sort of intervenes. So I think that if anything, anarchy would be the next best step. It might bring back things like tribalism, things like that, but I think that's not so much a bad thing, because I think community is actually really important. All right, I think I got like one or two more questions. All right, Dorothy.
I would like to know how people who are almost dead could participate in anarchy and benefit.
Entertainment. I've got a dark sense of humor. Margot.
Jesus.
What's your question?
So Lenin says that the state will wither away under communism or under socialism.
Okay.
So what's the difference between the state withering away under socialism and becoming full communism versus anarchy?
Well, once again, I want to mention to bald guy over here, because I don't know his name. Once again, like, the problem that we usually come into, because even communism is this aspect that more often than not it turns into dictatorship. Sure, there is this concept that we want to be, we want to kind of romanticize, we want to have this hopeful opinion on things, but I think more often than not, when we actually put in a higher stage government, such as what we have right now, it turns into a whole problematic thing, because we don't actually have as much of a say as we want to say we do. You can vote a lot, but it's basically just a bunch of people, you might as well just plain, connect the dots as far as that goes. I'm going to do one more question, I'm going to go off stage.
Back here.
Back here, okay.
I'm hiding. Was there one particular Hallmark Christmas movie that just pushed you over?
No, it was all of them. It was the concept of Hallmark Christmas movies. They're terrible. You should never watch them. The Christmas Prince isn't even a Hallmark movie. It's on Netflix, and it still exists as a Hallmark movie by genre. All right, thank you for your time, but continue where we're
Rent control. Let's talk about rent control. I mean, this is one of those weird things. I don't know about you guys, but everything I had ever heard or leared throughout my whole life that I knew about the rent and rent control. I'm kind of curious, folks. Things have changed a little bit in the last 2 or 3 years, but try to rewind to 2015. What did you think about rent control? What did you heard about it? What do you know about it? What do you think?
Bad for renters.
Bad. Does it work? I'm asking you, have you do you have a feeling or an opinion about rent control?
Honest or against it.
Most people are against it. Well, that's a different thing. Okay, look, I've got 10 minutes here. I can only cover so much. All right. So rent, we're just going to explain it. All right, I'm just going to go. This isn't. Oh, that's because I was using the backwards button instead of the forwards button. But first, some review. I need your help, guys. Remember, I'm a math teacher, not a comedian, which means when I ask you a question, you have to answer it, and not just my comrade, who I have assaulted here to answer the question. Okay. This is a sub presentation of Google Slides. Does it download to PowerPoint correctly? We'll find out. What is the rent? What is rent? All right, yeah, you're skipping ahead. What is, what, I mean, like, literally, like, just, when you think rent, what'd it say?
Cost to live someplace.
Cost to live someplace, right? I mean, rent sort of involves, like, two parties, like a landlord and a renter, right? And you give them some money in exchange to live in a place that for some bizarre reason they can take money in exchange for you living there for, okay? And renters, I just need you to like really go back to the basics. I don't know how many how many of you are renters? Clap. That was lots of claps, TV audience. How many of you are homeowners? Clap. Kind of, sort of about the same as renters. All right, I'll take that. How many of you are landlords? Clap. Do it. Do it. Do you take money in exchange for housing? Not yet. Okay. All right. How many of you are future landlords? Clap. All right, we've got one of you in the audience. I will not vilify you too much. Imagine you are a person who needs a place to live. It's not that hard. And that you're willing to give some money in exchange for that. I, as a mom, and this has really informed my perspective on this with kids who sort of like, they don't really think about like the money part of it, but they're like, wow, I can walk to school. It's close to grandma or my friends, or, oh my gosh, let's never move again because it's the worst thing in the entire world. Can we stay here forever? I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons why when you move into a place, you just, you've sort of like decided to stay there for a little bit for whatever reason. And I mean, how many of you have moved? Clapped. How many of you have moved? How many of you love moving? All right, you guys are weird. I encourage you to explore Anarchy. I'm just kidding. I'm a socialist, but I'm not into like the full chaos of like, say, having to sleep somewhere different every single night. Because as a mother with young children, I'm like pretty into knowing where I'm gonna sleep like at least a week ahead of time, any given time. And the whole like touching everything you own and putting it into boxes and security. It's moving as hell. I'm sorry. Can I just get like a hell yeah for moving as hell? Moving as hell. Thank you. Okay. Landlords be like, bah!
Go the other way.
Anarchy. Burn it down.
Here we go. Landlords be like, money. I mean, that's what rent is to them, right? They're not like, oh, I just really hope these people stay here forever. Except that they like the money. That was supposed to go first, sorry. Why does rent go up? Like, why would your landlord ever raise the rent? Or like, why would your rent ever go up? Because here's the thing, landlords kind of like to act like they have no choice but to increase the rent. Like it's this like law, this universal law or law of physics. Newton was like, every 6 months the rent must go up by $300 or else the universe will implode. Guess what? Your rent this month is gonna be $10,000. You're like, I'm gonna, So it's a problem, right? Because moving is hard and it's expensive, and if everything is $10,000, what do we do? So what happens when rent goes up? Landlords grow rich in their sleep, and all right. So for tenants, when the rent goes up, revolution. All right. So rent. I mean, this is a very common sentiment. Tenants are like, we're not growing rich in our sleep. It's kind of the opposite. And so we get really mad, and then we start demanding rent control. And then all the people who are so much smarter than us come out and be like, haven't you ever taken Econ 101? And so, like, first of all, let's just talk about like what rent control actually is. First of all, it's a policy. Okay? So when people are like, oh, rent control, it's like, it's not uniform. I bet when people are like, rent control, look at San Francisco and New York. We'll get there in a second. But I bet you all didn't know that rent control exists in 150 cities in the United States. And so rent control usually just regulates how often and how much rents can be increased during a tenancy. And this may come to like a huge surprise to those of you who have once ever considered any policy ever. But like policies vary from place to place, state to state. All right? Oregon just passed statewide rent control. Did you guys know that? Don't clap. It is a horrible thing. No, rent control is an amazing thing. They claim they passed rent control. What they really passed was a anti-price gouging policy, because they said that rent can't go up by more than inflation, which is usually 2 to 3, 4%, 5, sometimes more, depends on the economy, plus 7%. So usually it regulates how often, that's my drunkenness, how often and how much rents can be increased during a tenancy. What rent control does not do is like lower the rents, okay? There is no rent control policy in the history of all policies that says, dear all landlords, you can only charge $700 for a 2-bedroom apartment. Nor does it say like, dear all landlords, you now have to hand out housing for free. It doesn't do that, okay? Rent control, what does it do? It advertised, I didn't know this was gonna be like as like funny as it was, so the math teacher in me is like, I need to give precise definitions. Y'all have like found a place to live before, you're like, oh my gosh, $1,200, I can afford that, or like, oh my gosh, $600, I can afford that, whatever it is. You move in paying market rent, which is defined loosely as whatever the market will bear. I have big problems with that, another lecture. All right, a renter with a regular job who can afford the market rent moves in, and then it's kind of like you like want to stay there until you decide you want to move because your family is growing, got another job, you want a bigger place, whatever. I mean, that's kind of like the goal and the value, and here's what it does. Okay, here's the thing. We're about to be like, does rent control work or does it not work? Well, first of all, like when we think about something like working, like, okay, Tylenol works for headaches, fevers, pain, okay? Have you ever been like, guess what? Or, seen a friend who's like, oh my God, I have cancer, and you were like, dude, Tylenol. Okay? No, you wouldn't say that because Tylenol doesn't cure cancer. Nor would you come out and be like, dude, Tylenol does not work categorically. Because it actually does for headaches and fevers, but not for cancer. And like other things like that aren't headaches and fevers. So what is rent control actually supposed to do? It's supposed to prevent you from, it's supposed to prevent mass displacement, like whole communities and cultures and families and people and classes, like the working classes and the working poor. It helps them move out, helps them stay in their homes where they're close to school and grandma and whatever else, and invest in their communities, helps them like know how far they're gonna have to drive to work today and next year and the year after that and the year after that. So it has all these like great benefits for like everybody who gets rent control. Like that's what it does, right? It just says like, hey, you moved in here, you can afford it today. We're just gonna like make sure you can afford it for as long as you wanna stay here. Like that's all it does. So rent control, does it work? The BBC asks. Curb says it's making a comeback. Does it work? Jacobin, a super totally impartial socialist rag, says, here's how it works, and then like for Freakonomics is like, doesn't. So like, what's up with that? And here are just some of the reasons. It doesn't work well in urban areas. It actually benefits the rich and hurts the poor because Business Insider is super concerned with the poor. All right. Actually, Business Insider like founded 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago and was like, we just want to make sure the poor are okay. The New York Times, also super concerned with the poor, is very worried about how rent control hurts them. The LA Times is really, really worried about the relationship between tenants because outside of like the landlord-tenant relationship, LA is like so harmonious. And they just want to make sure that like renters aren't fighting with each other, because that's bad. And it doesn't, I like this, rent control doesn't always lower rents. Like, well, does it ever? I mean, and when the economic crisis happened in 2008, all those places without rent control also had housing shortages. Rent control didn't cause it. Capitalism did. Okay? So I'm here as a non-economist to tell you that you've learned everything you need to know about rent increase. It does work. It works super duper well. Just not for landlords.
This is called Drunken Discourse, and I took the whole idea seriously. Just a couple of things. First of all, I ate almost all of your tater tots. I don't. It's probably good for everyone that I did, because after I switched from wine to gin and tonic, that was about it. And the other thing, I do have one thing to add for rent control. It's about when you're really old. 2 years ago, I moved into a nice condo. It has popcorn ceilings, but it also has a blue something. And the landlord, after a year, she offered me a thing where I could stay for 3 more years at the same rent. Yeah, isn't that nice? It's a nice place. And then I thought about it. She knows I'll be dead during one of those moments. And she won't have to have the turnover. But what she doesn't know is that I have comics over on a regular basis. And everybody knows that comics, if they're young, they do drugs and other things. So we'll see about that. Okay, so I taught math, but I'm a little hazy. Here we go. I guess I wasn't supposed to take the drunken part seriously, but I did. I don't keep wine in my house, or beer, because I live alone now. And after 1, 2 sound good, 3 sound good, the whole bottle sounds good. So here's, I know this is going to be of interest to all of you, because most of you are 12. How to retain quality of life when caring for a spouse with Alzheimer's. Oh, I have to have some kind of a clicker thing.
Don't turn it upside down.
I have it upside down? No, don't. Don't have it upside down. Okay. I don't know if I have it upside down or not, but we will find out, because if I push the wrong way, it goes to nothing, right? Yeah. Here we go. Alzheimer's happens a lot. And none of you give a damn about any of this, right? Because it's my husband, who died after Alzheimer's, used to say, nothing ever happens unless it happens to you. And that's true. So I have some suggestions for you, which you may or may not like, and I don't give a damn. There we go. Choose your mate for life carefully. All right, I know that some of you may choose or have chosen someone because they're rich. How many of you chose your mate and he's here right now, and you chose him because he's hot? Yeah, okay. How many of you chose him because he's rich? Yeah, well, you can't say that. And anyway, you probably wouldn't be at Kelly's. But people do that too. There's something you're missing. And that is sense of humor. I'm not saying don't go for hot, don't go for money. I'm saying if you're, and I'm going to use husband because it was my husband, okay? I hope you don't mind. I can't do that they there in this PowerPoint after so many drinks. So, if you chose somebody and you look at them right now, or you look at them later and you go, oh shit, got no sense of humor, dump them before they get to 65 or 70, okay? Because, here's the thing, see that brain? How many of you are impressed with that? The fact that I have animation in this? You damn well should be. Thank you, Eddie Sue. And I did ask for a blackboard with colored chalk, but they didn't go for it. So, and now I know all about GIFs that animate. But there is a part of the brain for the sense of humor. If I had a pointer, I'd point it to you, but it wouldn't make any difference to you. It is not affected by Alzheimer's. And if your husband or wife is going to get Alzheimer's, and they do not have a sense of humor, God help you, and none of this will help you. No, I do have one thing that will help you, okay? Alzheimer's is a horrible disease. Don't let me get you wrong. My husband died. I was sad. But you know what? We gotta laugh about life like my husband did. So, choose a mate who has a sense of humor, because it'll still be there when you're going through hell together. And that was effective. Allow your spouse to choose denial. If your spouse has Alzheimer's, I'm really looking at these green things here. I'm trying to get better about details in life. These are so that I will look prettier, I think, in video. At my age, anything helps, right? Although maybe darkness would be better. I never replace the lights in my bathroom, by the way. So I have 1 out of 5 lit, and I look great. And when I get out of the shower, some of you might want to try this, I walk backwards to the mirror. And as far as I'm concerned, hey, I'm 25. Okay, so you're wondering who this orangutan is. It's my husband who died. He chose denial. And I thought it was cool, because if I got Alzheimer's, you know what I would have done? I would have been on the internet, looking for some damn cure, and being depressed all the time. No. He never acknowledged it, so I said to the doctors, leave him alone. Don't tell him anything. I remember when he went for one of those cognitive tests, for people that, like they're going to give me after this presentation. And so I've always thought those cognitive tests must make people feel bad, because even if you have Alzheimer's, you know that when you're asked the month of the year or something, that's a pretty easy question. My husband was in denial, has a sense of humor. When the neurologist asked, so, what month is it? He burst in, a beautiful baritone voice, by the way. He was rather vain. And he sang June. I'm not going to sing it because I'm tone deaf. June is busting out all over. It was August. When he was asked what the date was, what day of the month, he said, that's easy. It's between the 1st and the 31st. And it went downhill or uphill, whatever your thought is. And at the end, you know what was fun? The neurologist apologized for his score of 3 out of 30 because she couldn't give him credit for creativity. But by then he'd had his fun because he loved making people laugh. And he was the same person I knew. So remember, sense of humor. And one time he said to me, this was when his entire short-term memory was gone. I mean, we're talking gone. He was feeding the dog orange juice on the floor because he liked orange juice. And he said to me, you know, I think I'm having some memory problems. You'd be proud of me. I did not say, duh. I said, what makes you say that? And he said, I've been kind of misplacing some things. And I thought, God, you know, he used to really know where everything was, and I never have, so that's good. Let people be in denial. Let them choose. Okay. Laugh when someone with all, God, it's good to have these things, because I wouldn't have known what I was going to talk about. Of course, I used to feel that way about, even though I hated PowerPoint presentations. I used to be a consultant, for God's sake, they're so damn boring. But at least it kept me going on track. So laugh when someone with almost no short-term memory puts you in your place with humor. That lady is reluctantly, but you know, she doesn't think it's right. So I remember one time, oh, my husband drove me crazy. But I was working, I was writing at home, and the whole thing, he could no longer travel with me. And I was so busy. And he was sitting on the side of the bed looking out the view. And he said, I want to move to San Francisco. That's my favorite city. I want to move to San Diego. And he wouldn't stop. And finally I said, okay, so I wasn't the caregiver from heaven. I said, God damn it, Robert. We're not moving to San Francisco. We're not moving to San Diego again. When I die, if there's any money, you can move anywhere you want. And I want you to know this man had no short-term memory. And here's what happened without a thought. Pointed to his watch and said, how long do you think that'll be? I'd like to get going. How can you resist that? Okay, so he was clever than me, and I have a short-term memory, but honest to God, it made it worth it. Almost. Oh, something moved on without me. All right. Then you need to come to terms with the new meaning of golden years. I know some of you are thinking this. Some of you are thinking those damn ads. You know those ads for those places where people go? Oh my God. Well, I'm ignoring you like the last person did, because I have a really good presentation, and I worked for 72 years on this. No, 77. All right. So come to terms with the new meaning of golden years. You know where they walk down the paths on the golf courses? You know. They look like they're 40, but they have white hair. Get rid of that idea. Because with Alzheimer's, I think this next one's going to work. Accept the new meaning of sharing a bathroom. I did pretend, oh my God, I hope I don't fall. I have Alzheimer's. I don't have Alzheimer's. I have, what's that other one? Osteoporosis. Oh, what happened? There he is. So, it isn't just about my husband sitting with his clothes on the toilet, or getting in the shower with his clothes on. My husband and I, our golden years were spent spraying together. He sprayed every surface of the bathroom, and I followed up with Lysol. And then when I said to him one time, actually I was crying, because I have to tell you, urine is the worst part, no matter what the sense of humor is. And so when I said to him one time, crying, because of the rivers, yellow rivers, I said, Robert, would you like it if you had to clean up my pee? And being Robert, whom I loved, but he was a bastard, he said, clean up your pee? That's disgusting. I would never do that. Yeah, well, deal with it. Well, I pushed it, right? Enjoy the deja vu incidents. Okay, because some things never changed. I remember he was still able to go out to the park and smoke his cigars on a bench. People used to get up and say, "Oh, Mr. Geary, come sit down. This is yours." And he'd say, "You bet it is," and he'd smoke a cigar. So I was coming out and I tripped and I fell on the sidewalk, hit my nose. You know how much blood there is with nose. I wasn't really hurt bad. This young, well, you all look 12, so keep in mind what I mean by young. But he was coming by on a bicycle and he helped me up. So Robert got up and he came walking over, and I know you're going to think he was really concerned. Nah, blood all over. And he said to the guy on the bicycle, "I've tried to get her to stop drinking in the morning." And I laughed in spite of the blood and the pain, because it took me back to deja vu in San Diego when I went to this new school where there'd been 17 subs in the classroom, so nobody ever bothered to learn your name, especially if you were a white old lady. And then I got dizzy, sick, and I fainted, and they called my husband, and I found out later. Nobody even knew my name, but they did afterwards. They told me my husband came in and said, "I'm Mr. Geary. I understand my wife, Mrs. Geary, has been drinking again." I mean, that's cool, right? All right, there is a perk of Alzheimer's, and your spouse does not have to have. I know there's going to be a show that gets canceled, but damn it, I came here. We'll see. I'm fun when I don't drink, but I think, Anyway. All of you can do this. Maybe you have a great-grandmother. How many of you have a great-grandmother? You're all 12. Who has Alzheimer's? All right. So, as soon as they lose their short-term memory, gift-giving is fun. My husband loved old cars. And I was no longer able to travel, got rid of the car I was driving, and I went out and bought an old 99 Mercedes. It was really in good condition. It's not now because I banged it up. But it had 250,000 miles or something, but God, it was good. And just passed the DEQ, by the way. And so for his birthday, which was Halloween, he always thought, he was 50 when he realized the trick-or-treating wasn't invented for him because he was born then. But anyway, when he came down and we put orange and black balloons on the car. Oh God, this is such a great car. Where'd you get this car? Oh my God, whose car is this? This is your car, Robert. Of course, he couldn't drive, but he didn't care. So he rode in the car a lot. And that was October, right? We gave that car to him with different colored balloons for Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Memorial Day, 12 holidays of the year of his last life, of his last year of life, and every time he said, "Where'd you get this car? This is a great car." You don't have to spend any money. For God's sake, I spent $3,000 and now I'm so attached to it, I don't know what to do. Cherish the last conversation. So, my husband did have some mini strokes, and then he had a stroke. He still knew me, he was still fun. But he was dying. And he was in hospice, but I was trying to change him because nobody was there. And, I mean, there's a reason I became a teacher instead of a nurse. And I wasn't good at it. I was making a mess and the whole thing. And he was very uncomfortable, but he hadn't spoken for like 24 hours. And I was talking to him and saying, "I'm sorry, Robert. And then he turned and looked at me with the bright blue eyes, which is why I married him. And he said, "Shit!" And I said, "Right on."
Hey everybody, there's a band waiting outside for a sound check, so I'll keep this quick. I can do it in 10. I'll reiterate, I can do it in 10. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Hey, listen, how to survive and maybe thrive as an American high school teacher. I know you're saying it. It's like, I'm not a fucking high school teacher, why do I care? You do care because we are molding the future, and if we're all burned out and fucked up, the republic dies. That's why it's important. The first thing you gotta do to survive as an American high school teacher is you need to avoid jargon. Right? I know many of you are in fields where there's lots of jargon, but in education, it's acute. Right? Like this sentence right in front of me. We need to have actionable best practices in order to build capacity towards our grad and GVC goals, while focused on smart compass and PLC rubric. Avoid that sentence, right? If you're really good, you can translate that sentence, right? But I'm not really good at acronyms, right? I know I've been tested for GVC before, and it came back negative. Even though I had some pretty wild college years there, but I don't know what the fuck that means, right? But if you put it into a translator, it means this. We must create structures to measure things that are unmeasurable, while keeping things uniform, institutional, and mostly absent of joy. Right? You can translate that, which takes years. Remember, I've been teaching for 26 years here. If you get down to the skill where you can translate, you're good, right? So if you're not good with translating jargon, what you must do is avoid it, right? When people say stuff like this to you, you go, "That sounds great." And that's it. You stop right there. There's a hard stop on that, right? So the other thing you gotta do if you're gonna survive as a high school teacher is you always have to post state standards on your blackboard, whiteboard, whatever it is, right? But to have fun, you must be subversive. And to have fun, you must post state standards that have nothing to do with education. Because your vice principal will walk into the room, see the state standard in the corner of the board, and he'll be like, "Nice work, Gavitte, nice work." But when you're posting OR9 05120, that just means no loitering, right? Which is really kind of a good thing to have in a high school classroom, right? You can do 905-210, which is no urinator, you're defecating in public, right? In my class, we're a little hip, we're a little liberal. If you need to shit on the floor, you just have to put a little flag in it, so nobody steps on it, right? So you have that one. You can go obscure, you can go rogue, right? 905-740, no horses on the streets. Is a really good one to have there. In the hallways too, right? They always post the state standards. You gotta give multiple choice tests. You really do. No, hear me out on this, right? You can have a really well-crafted question where you give kids geography lessons and all kinds of things come together, but you can also get down to the core issue. which is your mom, right? We all know since the divorce, your mom's been, kind of out there. In this case, she was obviously in a foursome. Not only a foursome, but with the big three. So we're happy, right? And everybody who's got a recently divorced mom in your class, which is about half of them, they just eat this up because it's like they feel that they're not alone anymore, right? So you have that reality as well. Defend your students from absurdity, right? This is easier said than done in public education, right? When you're a teacher, you've been there for a long time, and there's this revolving door of administrators on top of you. Once you're savvy, you know full well that you don't even talk or acknowledge vice principals. Right? They're like, "Hey, how you doing, buddy?" It's like, listen, fuck off. I've been teaching here longer than you've been alive. Right? So don't come near me with your new rubric idea, because I'll fucking stab you. Right? And what's great about that is they totally understand because they're afraid of you, and they walk away. Right? I got a couple of vice principals where if they look me in the eye, I say, "Don't you do that again. You just made direct eye contact with me, fucker. You gotta be here 5 years before you do that." Well, anyway, we got this once from the district. Got this little nugget. Students will complete an anchor assignment that will be interdisciplinary in nature and submitted to the district by January 12th. What you need to do when you're given something like that is you need to tell your kids, "Hey, there's some bullshit." Right? Gee, what's an anchor assignment? Kids call me Mr. G because I'm dope. But what's an anchor assignment? It's like, you know what? We're going to make the anchor assignment whatever we want. Right? And I was working on the kids when this came down from a superintendent who was using it as a stepping stone, who's now, she runs the Gates Foundation now, right? But anyway, so we submitted essays that we were already working on concerning the historical significance of the Reconstruction era. Very important era in American history, more important than the Civil War. It's where we really kind of codified segregation and kids really comparing that to today and the Holder decision and all kinds of different things, right? But so we submitted this, and you might think, "Hey, they're not going to accept that." Yeah, they accepted it because we put little anchors on it. Right? And I got the paperwork back from the district going, "Hey, good job, Gavitte. Nice work." I'm like, "Yeah, that was nice work." Right? Those are anchor assignments. Did you see the fucking anchors? Great. Right? All right. You gotta go on field trips. Most school districts do not fund field trips. Go on them anyway. You're not supposed to collect money from kids. Collect money from kids. Right? And because you got a couple of rich parents, and you go, "Hey, give me $100. I'm gonna, send a couple of kids on a field trip." They love that. They're liberals, right? They want to give money to the poor kids, right? But you bring them on field trips. Why? Because that's where you learn shit. You do, right? Here is us on a construction site. I teach an urban studies class. The kids got hard hats. They got vests. They're super psyched. Most school districts discourage field trips. You do them anyway. But also the whole thing with, that's when they really learn about each other, because you have situations like the kid who drinks a 2-liter bottle of Mountain Dew and then a family-sized bag of extreme Doritos for lunch is sitting next to the girl who has tempeh lettuce wraps, right? Those kids are not hanging out with each other outside of a field trip, right? But you know, she realizes that the extreme Doritos are pretty awesome, right? And he realizes that tempeh still sucks. But it's a beautiful thing, right? It's called experiential learning. You experience things, right? Even if it's extreme Doritos. Finally, since I'm keeping it to fucking 10 minutes, we got this reality. If you're a teacher and if you're in any field whatsoever, you know that they're always saying shit like, our goal is 100%. Fuck that. The 100% goals are not based on reality. And if you're a young teacher, which I hate to see, when you're a young teacher, they take this and go, okay, I'm going to do it. And then they die. Right? Because that's not reality. You want to maybe raise your own kids, right? You want to make love to your wife. You want to do other things other than school, right? So you can't do that. That's not a realistic goal. Not every decision you make as a teacher will be correct. Not every student will be reached. I know this is anathema. I know there's vice principals right now who are pissing themselves because that's been said somewhere, right? But it's true. Not every student is going to be reached, and that's not your fucking fault. If you are not trying, if you are drinking 2 Manhattans, not on a Saturday night, but at 7:30 in the morning, yeah, that's a different story. Right? If you're just phoning it in, that's a different story. But if you are working 50, 60, 70 hours a week, you're not going to reach every student. Not every life will be transformed. And I'll end with this. I got it. I got it. This mic is on fire. It's been burned. But I'm sorry. That's my last joke about Mike's burning. Anyway, not every life will be transformed. But you know what? You don't know how you're going to transform lives. I had a kid a few years ago meet me at a bar. He was older. He graduated years ago. He wanted to buy me a beer. He just graduated from Michigan Law School. And he said, hey, somebody else wants to meet you, but he doesn't want me to tell you who he is. I'm like, fuck, man, that's weird. Don't do that to me. He's like, no, it's cool. And this kid meets us at the bar, and he's got a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue. If you know Scotch, this is a nice fucking Scotch. Right? He's like, I want you to have this. I'm like, who are you? He's like, you don't remember me. You had me in 10th grade. You said I was a fucking asshole. What? I'm sorry, man. That was a bad day. I didn't mean it. No. Dude, you changed my life. Because you know what? I was a fucking asshole. And if I realized it 2 years later, I would never have went to Michigan Law School, and now I work for one of the most prestigious firms in the country that is literally fucking corporations who are destroying the environment. I'm like, well, don't you have to be kind of an asshole to do that? You gotta really dig in there. He's like, yeah, I know how to filter it, but gee, thank you. Anyway, folks, I'm Don Gavitte. Thank you.